If you're a real estate agent and you want to use paid advertising to scale your business, you have come to the right place. Maybe you've tried paid ads in the past. Either you've run the campaigns yourself, or maybe you've hired an agency, or maybe you're here because you want to try this as a mechanism to grow your business moving forward. However, a lot of people in our industry are unable to make this particular lead generation method or this client acquisition method work. Now, the good news is this has been my primary client acquisition method for the last 12 years at this point in time. And so I'm going to put you on some game in this video and share with you what has worked well for me, some of the pitfalls that you may have fallen victim to, unfortunately, in the past, and the ways that we can go about fixing that in the future so that you can finally get a return on your ad spend and use this as a predictable mechanism to acquire new clients in your business. If you're new to the channel, my name is Emma Pace. I'm the co-founder of a marketing agency called SalesGenius, where we actually install paid advertising campaigns into our real estate clients' businesses to help them scale. So if you don't want to learn how to do this all yourself, you want to just skip the line, there's a link in the description below for you to book a call, chat with us, and see if we're able to help you. But without further ado, let me explain to you the best possible mechanism or the things that you should be focusing on in order to make your paid ads work. Here's some of the problems or some of the incorrect expectations that I see realtors have when they first try to essentially dabble in paid advertising. They've usually tapped out their repeat and referral, and so they're looking for another mechanism to get more business. So usually these people have done really well in nurturing their sphere. Maybe they've done open houses, but their organic efforts have essentially been tapped out. And especially right now where the market's a little bit more difficult, sales cycles, people used to move, every 3 to 5 years. And now with the way the economy is, that's kind of pushed out to 5 to 7 years. And so people used to call you every 3 to 5 years, and you're realizing that those calls are less and less frequent at this point in time. And so you're like, well, I need to backfill my business and scale my business with something else because I can't just wait for the phone to ring. And if that's you, then congratulations for recognizing that you have an opportunity and going out to do some research to figure out how to solve it, because most people don't. They just sit back and they deal with the fact that they're going to make less money, and those are not the type of people that should be engaging in this particular type of strategy anyways. Let's talk about some of the issues. So when you come into paid advertising with the same expectations that the leads are going to be the same quality as what you're traditionally used to with an organic repeat and referral type of strategy, you're immediately setting yourself up for failure. And the reason is, right now, you might not be spending any money, or if you are, maybe you're spending a very little amount of money for highly warm, nurtured leads, manufacturing the organic process through paid advertising, which we can talk about in another video. But right now your expectations are, I don't have to spend a lot of money, and the people that do come through already know me, like me, and trust me, and as a result of that, I'm their agent and we're good to go. And that's great. But ultimately, there's only so many of those people that you can go after in the world. And at some point, what we need to do is go after a colder audience and get them to know you, like you, and trust you. And essentially what we're going to do is convert these people, pay to have access to these people, and move them over to the organic section of your business where we can continue to nurture them for repeat and referral. And that's how our business scales. That's essentially what we do for our clients, is we help them understand how much it's going to cost to acquire a client over here. How do we move them over here? And how do we continue to build that relationship so that we can get more organic and repeat and referral types of business? But at the end of the day, if this is your individual well and you tap that thing dry and you've got no more water going into it, you're SOL, for lack of a better term. So to set the right expectations, when you move over to a paid advertising strategy and you're going after an audience that doesn't necessarily know you, like you, or trust you, we're going to have to pay in some capacity to acquire their attention, and we're going to have to figure out how to get them to know you, like you, and trust you, which you can definitely do through paid advertising. However, I'm going to go through a couple of the things that you may have fallen victim to previously if you've run paid ads, or that you may if somebody doesn't set the right expectations with you. And essentially, if they don't do that and you end up deciding to quit too early and you don't get a deal out of it, all that money ends up being wasted ad spend, and it's not an investment, it's just lighting your money on fire. So the very first thing is, most agencies and most realtors will look for one metric, and that metric in an advertising platform is usually called CPL. That's cost per lead, okay? How much does it cost you to get one lead? And a lead could be name, email, phone number. For us, it's not just name, email, phone number. We usually ask some qualification questions, which increases our cost per lead, in fact. But it means that the people that are coming through are a little bit more qualified. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But the first thing that people focus on as realtors is specifically, what is my cost per lead? And they, of course, everybody wants the cheapest cost per lead with the highest quality, right? Like, who doesn't want that? Everybody does. But it's my job to make sure that I set the right expectations with you, because some of you that will watch this video at some point will decide that you want to work with us, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page and have set you up for success to make sure that we can make this work and have a good, long-lasting relationship. Okay, so this particular metric right here, though it's important because we do want to use leads to essentially what I call list build. So how do we build your list in your CRM of people that we can continue to nurture over time? And some of these leads will go in there, they're not going to convert right away, obviously, okay? Now, the main metric that we focus on that a lot of people never discuss in our industry, and I don't know why, is what I actually think is the most important metric for us to track, and that is cost per booked call. Okay? This is the number one metric that you should be focusing on with paid advertising. How much money does it cost me to get an appointment booked? Because ultimately, if we look at the math, and essentially what paid advertising is just doing math. So if you're not great at math, hire somebody that is. And if you are good at math, this is going to be an incredible strategy for you. So if we look at the math, and let's say you have a $2,000 a month ad budget. Okay? There's a couple different ways that we can shake this out, and this is what most people want. They say, hey, I got $2,000. I'm going to drop $2,000, and I'm going to do it in a couple different ways. I can drop it all at once, okay? Or people will come through, so it's like, I'm going to spend the $2,000 in 1 month. Or I get people that come through and they say, I got $2,000. I'm going to slowly drip it out, and I just want to spend $200 a month. And so guess what? It's going to take them freaking 10 months to spend this ad budget. And when I show you what the average cost to acquire a client is going to be, I'm going to show you that in a little bit, you're going to realize that you're just basically spending your way into poverty and wasting this money if you spend $200 a month on ads. It's almost not even worth it. Okay, so let's say we take option number one, and that is, hey, I've got actually a pretty healthy budget to get enough people coming in so that I can get reps and make sure that I'm converting these leads. Well, there's a couple different ways that we can shake this out. With the $2,000 a month budget, we have a couple different ways. Some people come through and they're like, I want $5 leads because I want the cheapest leads and I want the most lead flow possible. Okay, well, what's that going to do? That's going to add 400 leads into your list that we talked about earlier to build your list, okay? So you got 400 people that enter your CRM. Or, okay, let's say your leads cost you 10 times as much and you had $50 leads. So what does that mean? That means we're going to get 10 times less leads. That means that we're going to get 40 leads. Some of you might be thinking, well, I should go after this. Well, if you have a lot of time to chase people down, make phone calls, nurture, if you're great at email marketing and all that stuff, and you actually know how to nurture these people, this could potentially be a better strategy for you. Depending on the size of your team, how much time you have, etc., you might be a person that says, I don't want a lot of leads. I just want the best quality leads, and I'm willing to get fewer leads for more money, but ultimately, they all come from the same budget, if that makes sense. So, ultimately, if we have a $2,000 a month budget, we can have some of you guys that would prefer 400 leads and some of you guys that would prefer just the 40 leads, depending on what your workload is going to look like. Now, going back to the top, this essentially is personal preference. Okay? Now there's pros and cons associated, and usually what we find is somewhere in between these two is kind of where we like to be, because we want qualified leads coming in, but we also want the opportunity to know that we've taken these people offline and can continue to nurture them as well. So one of the things that is the most important is, regardless of whatever strategy, I don't care if you're agent A that wants a tremendous lead flow or agent B that doesn't want a lot of leads for the same budget. The thing I care about is, are you able to get a reasonable cost per booked call? And so in this particular circumstance, if I spend $2,000, what would be relatively normal is to expect that you're going to spend anywhere, and again, it depends on your sales process, which is going to be in more videos on this channel that we're going to talk about how to optimize that. But you probably want to spend somewhere between $200 and $300 cost per booked call with where you're at with your skill set if you're watching this video, okay? If you're great on the phone, I would say our best people are probably around $100, and there's people that are up to like $500, but they're not that great on the phone. So what I would expect is somewhere around $200. So in this particular circumstance, this person is going to have to convert 25% of their leads, and that's going to be 10 appointments. And this person has a tremendous amount of lead flow. I'm going to call this A, and I'll call this person B. So B is going to only have to convert 25% of their leads into 10 appointments. And that's going to mean that they have a $200 cost per booked call. Now, if you have more leads coming in, you're going to convert less of them, obviously, because they're usually less qualified. They're not answering qualification questions and things of that nature on the actual form. And so that means that person A is going to need to convert at least 2.5% of the leads to also get 10 appointments to stay at a $200 cost per booked call. And so most people, what they expect is, I'm going to spend $5 here and I'm going to convert at 25%. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. One, it's unrealistic from expectations, okay? And two, unless you're running a huge team right now, the likelihood of you being able to take 100 appointments and continue to deliver the services for your clients every single month is unrealistic. Now, of course, we can scale back ad spend and do things of that nature, but paying this amount of money, okay, for an abundance of leads and expecting a conversion of 25% would be unrealistic. And so to kind of bring my point home, I don't care what the cost per lead is, right? And I'll talk to you in a second around what the different ways are that we can add friction to the process to increase the cost per lead. But most people come into paid advertising wanting to be the agent A, and then they do not have the back-end systems to nurture or convert 400 leads. And ultimately what happens is their CRM becomes full. They don't know how to organize people. They don't know what to say to them. They don't know who their hottest leads are. And all of a sudden they wake up, they're opening up a CRM that's full, and they have no idea where to get started. On the flip side, you have people like Agent B who are like, well, I only got 40 leads. I spent $50 a piece. I better nurture the hell out of these leads because I actually don't have that many. However, with these leads, when you spend a little bit more money, you can add friction to the process by asking qualification questions, which anybody that works with us at SalesGenius will know is a mandatory requirement for any of the types of lead generation campaigns that we run. And we run multiple different types of custom lead generation campaigns for our clients. If you ever decide to join us, again, link in the description below if you'd like to learn a little bit more about what we do. But one of the ways that you can make sure that you're getting more qualified leads is by making sure that instead of just asking for name, email, and phone, you make them answer questions in addition to that. And you're like, oh, but if I ask questions, they won't fill out the form. Good. That's literally the entire purpose. The entire purpose is if you are unwilling to take this one step here, you can't have the thing on the other side. I don't want you in my CRM. So a lot of people what they'll do is they'll just optimize for this to make their campaigns look good and say, I got a really low cost per lead of $5. Amazing. But guess what? Do you have any relevant information around how to nurture these leads on the back end? No. All you have is their name, email, phone number. You don't know when they're looking to move, why they're looking to move, what's important to them at that point in time. If they don't answer the phone, what are you going to do to follow up and continue to add value with them? What types of emails would they expect? What types of communication or text would be valuable to them? You have no idea. It's like throwing a dart in the dark at that point in time. So I would rather add a little bit of friction here. I would rather add a little bit of friction here on the back end and increase my cost per lead. And again, we do this in a great way where like our lead cost is still very reasonable for the amount of information we're able to get for our clients. But I would rather add a little bit of friction so that when leads come through, typically we're going to be somewhere between $5 and $50. We're going to be closer down here, but you're going to have a lot more information. So that if somebody doesn't answer the phone right away, we can give you our back-end systems so that you can continue to nurture the leads and increase your conversion and make sure that we're hitting a $200 cost per booked call. Because normally what we'll see is if you actually follow the system that we walk through, and there's other videos on this page that walk through how we do it, like the lead comes in, they go to a discovery call, strategy session, education tour, and things of that nature. If you actually follow the system and you follow what we teach, what we will usually find is and we'll say under a 90-day window, because real estate takes a little bit longer to convert than just, a traditional like coaching offer, e-com or something like that. Obviously you need to do showings. You might have to put in a couple of offers, things of that nature. It's not usually like, I've had a couple people who have gone out on the first tour and closed, but that's not always the case. But what we'll usually find in a 90-day window is a 25% conversion to a contract, okay? To a contract. And so what that would mean is if you have a $200 cost per booked call and you're converting 1 in 4 of those people into a contract and getting the contract done within 90 days, then that means that you're spending $800 to acquire a client. Now, with most of the people that we work with, their average commission is going to be 20 grand. In most circumstances, that could be an $800,000 property. Well, as long as we give our clients the math of, hey, every time you spend $800, you get 20 grand, guess what they say? No problem. That seems like a fair trade. Specifically because if our clients continue to do the things that they are already good at, and they spend $800 and they acquire 1 client, okay? Sure, they have to pay that on the front end. But if they do a really good job with this client, guess what that client ends up being? A second one. So they might spend $800 and that will be for the first client, then they get the referral. And guess what? That $800 turns into 40 grand in commission, and all of a sudden we're looking at 20 times return. 20 times return. That is how you scale paid ads. So what most people don't do is they don't look at their cost per booked call. They don't look at the systems and the way that when a lead comes in, what am I going to do to convert that person into an appointment? They suck at this part. And so they just focus on, I need to get more leads, I need to get more leads, I need to get more leads, and I need to bring my lead cost down, I need to bring it down. It's not bringing the lead cost down. It's that you don't have the systems on the back end in order to convert those people into an appointment. And so what I would strongly encourage you to do is instead of just focusing on the cost per lead, is focus on your cost per booked call. Because you might actually have been spending the perfect amount of money. Quite honestly, you may have been booking appointments for $200, but no one set the right expectations and you decided to shut off the marketing that was already working. No one's ever told you to look at cost per booked call. And so for us, with the clients that come through and want to work with us, the only thing that we're trying to optimize for is this particular number over time. And so what we're usually doing with our clients is we're getting the campaign running, we're making sure that we have a good amount of lead flow in so that you can start to install our systems on the back end, and that we can hold you accountable and say, hey, we got you X number of leads. How many of those turned into a discovery call? Okay, how many of those people are opening your emails? What do your emails look like? Is the information relevant to those people? Are you starting to get replies? How many appointments have you been able to book with the leads that we've generated? And what we're going to do is we're going to sit down with you and we're going to say, like, okay, at this part in the sales cycle is where we see the highest percentage of people dropping off. Maybe that is you're doing a great job with the emails and you're getting people on the initial discovery call, but you're struggling to convert them from a discovery call to a strategy session. Well, then the problem isn't the leads that are coming in. In fact, it's not your email marketing, and it's not even the intro on the phone call. It's that you're struggling to show the value on the phone call to get somebody to commit to the appointment. And so what people will often do, and I did this for a long time, they shut off the ads. The ads were never the problem in the first place. The skill set of being able to show value and get somebody to actually come to the call is the area of opportunity. So why would you shut off the thing that is working? Because you're shutting off the thing that's working and not improving the thing that isn't working right now. So our job is to make sure that we're able to show you the numbers and the statistics and the math, like I said at the beginning of this video, to be able to make this work and to understand your cost per booked call. Because I can assure you that it'll probably be the maybe second or third client that you acquire from paid advertising, and you understand this is exactly how much money it cost me to acquire a client. You're not going to be scared to spend money anymore. The reason why, like I said at the beginning of the video, people are scared to spend money and they want to try $200 here or there is because they're like, I don't know if this is going to work for me. Well, I can almost assure you that it's not going to work for you, because you might get one appointment per month. Quite honestly, if you're only spending $200, you're probably not even going to get one appointment in the first month, because you don't have enough volume coming through to practice and to be able to get better. You don't have enough data. You don't have enough people that you're sending emails to know if your emails are good or your emails are bad. So, testing your foot, dipping your toe in the water is only prolonging it. So it might take you 4-5 months to get your first client, or to even book enough appointments on a increased frequency, or like frequently enough that you're only human. Of course you're going to give up. If you work on something for 6 months and you see absolutely zero results, or you see absolutely zero improvement, why would you continue to do it? We're human. Obviously everybody tells you to, but it's kind of hard to commit. So our job when people come through, or whether it's us or you're working with an agency, you should spend enough money to be able to get some data, and you should be able to have a relatively quick feedback loop to understand what is working and what is not. It's never going to work perfectly off the first round. So you got to work with somebody that can look at this from a bird's eye view and say, okay, step 1, 2, and 3 are working well. This thing's breaking at step 4. We're not going to touch step 1, 2, and 3. What we're going to do for the next 2 weeks is we're going to try these 3 things at this step, and we're going to see which one of those things works. And once we figure that out, guess what? When it breaks on step 5, it's all good. We're going to fix it then. And essentially what we do is optimize the machine over time so that you can feel confident that every time you spend X number of dollars, you get a client. And then what you do is you put those clients into your back-end systems of repeat and referral so that you can continue to increase your return on advertising spend and bring in new clients and keep them around for longer. That is the best way to make paid advertising work for real estate. So I hope the cost per booked call tip helped you a ton. And if you found any value in this, then make sure that you like and subscribe, because I'm going to have a ton more videos for you on paid advertising and converting online leads on this channel.